Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Bowder speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... You might think that The Mutant Girl is the only Gacha series to have its episode 8 be split up into two parts, and to my knowledge you'd be correct, because the only reason this is split apart into two reviews is because we ran out of time to talk about what we wanted to talk about within the last one. And considering that I have that I've started this stream quite late, I don't want to dilly-dally too much. However, I will say that there has been it seems like there's my options have been removed on the side for preset stream moments. So I'm not going to be going back and forth between a couple of rooms this time. So I guess I just import the file and let's go ahead and get going, because I have a rendered version of it this time that is just part 2, much like I do for the StarKid reviews. So I guess we'll jump in right where we left off with more context behind just everyone's backstory all at once, because that's what we're doing for this episode, and it took 40 minutes, I guess, to fuse all of that together. Which now I'm wondering what's that precedent that sets for season 2, whether or not that's going to continue in such a manner, or if it's going to go back to the length that it had before. I guess that's yet to be seen. But for this episode, let's see what we left out from last time, as I know you're all dying to find out. So, without further ado, on with the review. Oh, that's right. She cast Tent. Aurora cast Tent. Yep, that's right. Anyways, as long as I keep her happy. So, to remind people of what happened, this is right after Aurora said goodbye to her biological parents, who she does seem to at least have a working memory of, unlike what was implied in previous episodes. Based on how much she actually seemed to know of witch culture. I guess there's nothing that outright declared that necessarily, but it definitely felt like this character knew as much about her own origin as we, the audience, did, and that was, and thus it was an audience surrogate. But yeah, I guess, I guess that was asking for too much. So I have this message here. Oh well. I'm sure that if Percival comes back later, KW will watch this VOD. Anyways, there's a lot of them outside. They won't be able to notice that we're here. But what about our family? So why can't we just fight back? We have magic. Obviously the mortals don't. Don't underestimate the mortals. Especially some witches aren't even eligible to fight in this type of situation. This is one thing that comes up in a lot of, like mortal versus witch conflicts. Most of the time, the mortals overpower them in sheer numbers, and that seems to be the reason behind a lot of their victories in question. I guess it depends on, how creative you are with the magic and what extent your powers can actually, help you in such a situation. If witches are trained to help people more so than to hurt them, then it stands to reason they wouldn't be as good in combat necessarily. At least not this time. Was that a cryptic soul? Put them too. I need the honor team and guards to ready yourselves, and get the hunters and young ones to the back of the bunker. We will be heading out. The mortals have no chance from those souls. Then why not just wait until the souls get? I guess they're being noble and saving the mortals, despite the fact that they hate them, which does show a level of righteousness to their actions, especially when they themselves are also in danger. I'm not going to call it just yet, but it seems we might end up actually having the opposite thing happen to part 2s that we normally do with gacha videos. But we'll see. again, we are only a minute into this video, and there's 21 to go, I think, so let's see. This goes a clean, just walks off. Yeah, all right. Back the way you came, I suppose. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Oh, but that's right. Yeah, I remember now. I did something similar in class today, actually. Weirdly enough, I broke a 3-year dry spell of acting in front of an audience today. That I had since university. No! You may be asking. Why are we here? I buried a peculiar item down here that was given to me from my father. Okay, the one thing I would have possibly done there is like have the round like shuffle, but add maybe a sound effect. But I mean, I guess it's not, beyond the one's possibility for Orbit to fade through the ground if it's being buried by a witch, but yeah, it would have been a nice touch, I suppose. Now, I want you to take a look inside. You seem a little confused. I'm not actually, because I recognize those earrings. Because I'm pretty sure. Because again, it's pretty clear this is meant to be Percival, and we've seen him wear those. So I guess we've now got a bit of an origin, which also means we have the separation of gacha accessories, which was not as common at the time. It goes on your ears. And by it, I mean they, because there's 2 of them, plural. Don't be afraid, your ears wouldn't need to be pierced. And by wouldn't, I mean won't. But first, let me tell you what it does. You see, there is a magical creature inside of them called a Kwami. Her name is Tiki, and she controls the power of creation. You will be able to summon her by saying Tiki spots on and transform into Ladybug. Anyway, it'll actually make you forget things of what I advise you to forget. I personally just not put them on in that case as a child, but there you go. The earrings will send magic energy into your eardrums. Then to your brain, which will find those memories of what I've told you. Which will consign to oblivion. You do want to forget the past badly, don't you? As I expected. Then, when I put these on you, they will stick on automatically. I'll need you to remove you hood. You hood! Remove it! Fine, let you keep it on. The audience already knows who you are. There's no point, but sure, I'll just, dig around a little bit and there's your earlobe. I'll do one of those. But when you do have the earrings on, you wouldn't be able to get them off. And by wouldn't, I again mean won't. It will be like one of your limbs, which is a horrifying concept, because that means they will be able to move with your brain signals. Ew. It'll be like earphone jack from My Hero Academia. Anyway, if you do want to take them off, expect a lot of pain. And without being able to process that information, just shove them on. Fantastic, Granny. Oh, okay. I guess one side is all it took. Right, fine. Try to pull them off. Despite what I just said. By the way, again, I'll compliment the music on this and the sound effects, having the music like fade out right as the moment goes, and we'll I suppose he wouldn't try too hard in this instance, because why would he? Yeah. Now listen to me closely. It's time to forget. Forget who your grandmother is. Forget who your father is. Forget where you were from. Forget that you've written the Book of Agatha. As a child? I mean, okay, I would have thought you would have read the book. I mean, I forgot if what happened last time, but okay, that's. I'm not sure if it got to that point where it said he wrote the book on Agatha, considering that book is so important to, Aurora's journey, and he was helping out with that. I mean, wow. I guess like from his point of view, expressing like his doubts on Aurora's mission in the first place, and realizing that he actually knew this all along. And also the fact that he believes in the he believes in the preservation of oblivion. If somebody has painful memories of some kind, they would not want to remember them. Now, here's the question I have: does that actually mean that his propensity for that argument is actually due to was he already like ingrained in him because of what he believed at this point when he chose to seek out oblivion for himself, or is it the earrings that are convincing him of this, because in an attempt of self-preservation, they don't want him to recover his own memories? Either way, it does seem like a lesson this character can actually learn in terms of actually processing this stuff. There's actually a whole arc about this in Seven Deadly Sins that was interesting from both angles, even though one of them was very clearly presented as the option that would have provided less suffering overall, partially because it was tied to a romance arc in that show. In this one, it isn't, but still, it's aside from that, it's another attempt at being like, okay, well, would you rather know this stuff or not? Would you rather know what shaped you, or shape yourself away from that stuff? What would your character be if all the bad stuff didn't happen? That was a gacha trend at one point that I, in fact, participated in. Some years after this came out. So yeah, actually, again, another interesting question coming up from this. Not gonna lie. Forget who Agatha's family are. Well, that one was expected. Forget the pain you suffered from. Forget me. Oh, okay. I guess you're going to open your eyes and confuse him immediately. Oh, or not. Okay. Does he know why he's crying? Is another question. All right, then. And now we cut back to, I assume, inside the tent. And now it's like, yeah. Aurora? Aurora, where are you? I gotta be that person. The tent is still fading too soon because it's still not part of the background. Aurora? Yes? You just attack a cryptic soul? Yes, it's off screen to save an animation, but that's exactly what happened. You're correct. I'm shocked to see your strength. My, you're also brave enough to walk out here too. I'm so glad we're talking about these things. I guess after this part of the video, I guess we're 4 minutes into this video particularly. So I suppose if I suppose that this would be like 24 minutes into a 40-minute video. So by this point, it's entirely possible that Oreo was starting to get tired. Again, if these scenes are filmed chronologically, which they might not be, but something tells me that they are. But please, don't walk out the tent without telling me. I need to keep you safe as possible. As safe as possible, but yeah. You nearly gave me a heart attack. I apologize, miss. I just wanted to try something that I've always trained for. You're quite a brave one. What you were doing was really dangerous. That cryptic soul could have hurt you badly, or worse. Please tell me next time when you see one again. I'm here to keep you safe for your parents. I understand. Thank you. Again, this feels like a genuine conversation someone would have with a child who means well, but still, but you don't want to put themselves in danger. Because that's a thing, actually. Especially about protagonist children, but in general, children as well. Despite the fact that we put them first a lot of the time, they themselves, for very similar reasons, altruistic ones, depending on how they've been raised, will sometimes attempt to do the exact same thing. And it's especially difficult when in these situations where the child is the only person who is able to actually do anything. That's one thing you get in a lot of Chosen One stories. Actually, the ones that do actually have their parents still around, you get like the helplessness from the parents because they know that at some point their child must walk alone to some degree, which is a relatable thing for all parents I've given to understand because that's eventually the kids fly the nest and they have to do things on their own. And you're never fully prepared for that to happen. So that becomes a relatable moment, especially for audience parents who are watching along with their kids on something, or something for them to latch onto as well, aside from the memory of being in that situation. I think this is kind of like harkens back to something I was saying in Camping Trip Gone Wrong. Ironically enough, but back in a camping setting, it seems that Gacha series tend to focus on parent drama when it comes to camping. Who knew? But yeah, in Camping Trip Gone Wrong, there was one thing I was talking about where that was like a breakdown of a miscommunication between a teen and his parent in that case. And this time it's a child. So again, different situation, but it's a different sense of like disparity, and it's cleared up again in an honest conversation. Because yeah, it's in some ways, it's like especially if a child trusts you, can make them understand your point of view and reinforce that you understand theirs. So yeah, like I mean, when did this episode get good? It was like literally at the halfway point. Hello, Ghost Kitty. You can see a shadow in the background of this of it, just kind of lurking there. Is he gonna walk again? No. Okay, not this time. Ooh, okay, that was lucky because invisibility is not the same as intangibility. So I'll say that much. Maybe in this world they are, but they shouldn't. They don't. They're not always. Yeah. Oh well. That was close. Oh, I guess you can fall into a trap by standing still. So yeah, again, not intangible, and they know that there's something there. So that's clever on their part too. Again, mortals and their resourcefulness and their numbers are important when it comes to turning the tide in these situations. Anyways, we got something. Is the witch? I'm not sure. I don't see anything on the net. But there's weight on the net. Unless. Yeah! The witch is invisible! What a great time for a prize! Oh, Arura's parents? Arura's parents were nowhere to be heard. Good for them. Amelia's husband was found lifeless 4 days after. Oh, I guess, again, like I said, it's the halfway point. Oya might have been getting a little bit restless when it comes to this particular project. Most of the students from Ashna Academy were safe, but the headmistress and Elena's lives were taken from the fire. Or by the fire, I guess, if they're consumed in the fire rather than, like, plucked away from it, you know? Soon, Amelia decided to take Aurora as their foster daughter. As for the king's son and wife, remains a mystery. We know now, of course. And here we are. I think this is the first moment in this episode that's meant to be the present day. Again, from 8 part 1 to now. It took 26 minutes total time, I think, to reach this point. I guess there was ultimately a lot to cover. I just wish it weren't all done necessarily at the same time. Not that it's, you know, well, I was gonna say it was badly put together. Episode 8 was badly put together, but yeah, like I would have personally scattered these things across the series rather than like all reviewing them all, especially considering that I think there are 2 more episodes after this. Maybe they need to be dedicated to just dealing with all of this, but I understand that they're also quite long in length, so you would have thought that would have been something they could actually do. But anyway. Also, noted, I'll check DMs after this. Gosh, you scared me. Oh. Now I can actually scroll back properly if I miss something like that. I sound like a bird flapping, actually. Gosh, you scared me. I couldn't get this dang lantern to work. There he is, my first line as proper in this episode, considering that my character was mute before this. I think I mentioned last episode, some people do go mute due to trauma, like selective mutism, and I was in a show about that one time. So yeah, again, I guess after forgetting his trauma, he then recovered the ability of speech, possibly. Just leave it. We're fine with the moon's light. If you say so. Still nothing? It's still quite calm outside. Guys, I can take over now! You two should rest! Gab is in session right now, so I guess can't really bring back Genist in the same way. I'm fine. I'm not tired since I already slept for a good amount of time. How about you, Percival? I'm good. I can stay up. Is Celeste still asleep? Yeah. That was bad. Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Yeah. That's a meme from a long time ago. Anyway. She's had a really long day anyway. You're right. Oh, do you know what time it is right now? 1:36 a.m. And still no mortals. Oh, that's right. They were waiting for the mortals to pass through. Supposedly. I mean, they've got a barrier up, but so they should pass through without noticing that they're here. So but they've all been, you know, taking turns awake, so they haven't missed them. At least that's not the implication. Well, you two stay on watch. I'm going to read the Book of Agatha to find any clues or answers. Or an author's name, perhaps. That'd be pretty interesting if it was the author's name. You would think that if Percival wrote the Book of Agatha as a child, that his child handwriting would be very evident in the book itself. Or maybe not. Maybe witches have magical calligraphy. Who knows? Go right ahead. So, do you think our academy will be okay? We do still have the amulet, and it's only visible to us. So I'm sure it'll be fine. I think there was an event last episode where they did claim it for themselves, but yeah, I might have not remembered that correctly. That's good. Oh, now I just want to go back home. Home? I'm talking about the academy! Honestly, you could be talking about, you know, where you came from, but that wouldn't matter too much to Percival. I mean, he also, you know, presumably hails from a place. Not that he remembers where he's from, so but he clearly found a way to enroll in the academy, and I assume resides somewhere else in the, you know, off hours of the school. I've adapted to Mogurt pretty quickly as my own home. Yeah, you have adapted pretty quickly considering you've barely spent any time in the academy itself since you got here. Just like Ashna. I see. Academies are our only way to keep witches alive and strong. Yeah, thank you for that. 8 episodes in, that was very clear. Trust me. Yeah, our life depends on academies now, which is unbelievable. Someday the mortals will trust us again. Somehow. Slightly redundant end to the conversation, but there you go. Aside from that, fairly solid. There's no name of the author who wrote this! Ah, there we go. Yeah. Maybe they wanted to keep their identity hidden. Oh, I skipped back by accident. I pressed the wrong button. Hold on. There we go. Where are they all coming from? These undead souls come from anywhere. I might just lose my stamina because of them. All of you better not give up. I think that was the bridge outside of Mogrip itself. So yeah, they are pretty close by. And wow, that person running, across this, with avoiding the beams. Lucky them for being able to get out of the way quickly because they were running right in the line of fire with no concern. Aside from that, I do like the beam, that they're aiming in lines if they've arranged themselves a little bit, so they're getting a little bit organized. The mortals could appear anytime. Keep your eyes open for them. I was read that wrong. We'll be taking this route to the mountains. That will lead us to that witch academy. Title drop. If we stumble upon any danger, we will split the mob into 2. The others will stay and battle upon the danger. And the others will... Sorry, hold on. The others? Wait a second. Oh, wow. Okay, I thought I was scroll back and it would be more of... Okay, I thought it was going to scroll back in real time and show me this play, but alright. Something happened to StreamYard today. Yeah, so the others will stay and battle upon the danger. And the others will continue. The others will do one thing, and the others will also do that other thing. Yeah. When will we head out, Your Majesty? When the clock strikes 2. I'm guessing 2 a.m. Which, by the way, if the clock strikes 2 a.m., I mean, I assume it... Oh, yeah, I guess they wouldn't use, the church bells or something. I'll just wake up everyone. Those witches will be exhausted by the time we get there. Witch Academy have said it's just Witch Academy. That Witch Academy would be another Witch Academy series, wouldn't it? Next to My Witch Academy and Alpha Witch Academy. Of course. This is actually also an interesting difference in mentality. Because we saw in the flashback how the witches that took refuge inside of the bunker actually went outside to help the mortals fight the cryptic souls. And now that they're in the opposite situation where the witches are fighting the cryptic souls, the mortals are using that to their advantage, like I implied they would before. That does show something about regular humans and their logic behind that. And if even I go with the exact same plan. Imagine the mess is actually being portrayed properly in this. Here we go. Aurora, please stay safe out there. Guess we know what happened to the mother. That almost at the end of the episode, but it's not. Okay, we've got another we've got another 10 minutes ish. 12, I think, actually. I'm going to go check on Genist. Okay, I'll stay here. Come in. Ah, hello, Percival! I'm just here to check on you. So, have you found anything? So far, I noticed that this book doesn't have an author. What, you've been in here for how long, and that's all you've noticed about this? And probably something that can make the mortals trust us again. Okay, that's something interesting. Alright. Huh? No way there's a possibility in that book. If that one quote, that wrong quote is there. Not your Witch Academy, not my Witch Academy, not that Witch Academy. It has to be Witch Academy. I don't know, it doesn't quite go the same way. Especially because you added an extra one. Rule of threes, but close enough. Let me read it to you then. Let me read it to you then, and tell me what you think. The time when an unmentioned relative of Agatha is possessed by your trapped soul, which is a thing that I predicted in this book as a child writing it, a witch will need to sacrifice themselves by drowning in Novaturant Lake, with the mortals witnessing the action. See, here's another thing. Originally, the Book of Agatha seemed to almost be... Oh, actually, no, it would have been written like after. Never mind. Yeah. This will make the trapped soul of Agatha leave the current relative's body. Oh, it's the demon warlock situation. Right, we're going with the vessel angle. I see. So it wasn't all Agatha's relatives that would end up in that situation. It was only one specific Agatha's relative, the chosen one of Agatha's relatives, if you will. Yet again. Excuse me 1 second. I'm not going to scream, I just need to blow my nose. Okay, there we go. All right. Continuing. I thought her body was in half. That's part of their plan, actually, I think. Also, get this. Genius is reading this exchange, so if you're still here, I'm trying to do the rainbow voice. The mortals will fear this witch will find this witch a life savior, gaining their trust back as theorized. But hey, that's just a theory! A witch theory! I don't know how to feel about this anymore. I mean, it is literally, I joked about the whole just a theory thing, but it is quite literally just a theory. So, this very much could not work. The mortals might not know because no one else seemed to suspect about any trapped vessels. You have to inform the mortals about that as well. This plan this could easily backfire. In fact, it's more likely to fail than it is to succeed. Which I guess perhaps might be the point because it's a last-ditch effort type of situation, but yeah, I don't think so. There's not a lot of scrutiny. So technically, we'll need a relative of Agatha to possess themselves. And have another witch sacrifice themselves in front of the mortals. Duration on the bottom and said, yeah. I mean, it's not like that plot didn't work. It's just, you know, I might have found the source of inspiration given when this was released. I can only think of Aurora. Wow, that's an implication right as you walked in the room. There is no romance in this story. The creator confirmed it, but my goodness, that could have been easily misinterpreted. What about me? I was talking to Genius about how you think Mogrip has your own home. I mean, of Mogrip as your own home, but yes. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear about it. It was like one sentence, but it was still an interesting sentence. Oh, that's nice that you guys are talking about it. Seriously, Rora, don't stop popping out of nowhere like that again. How else will we talk about you behind your back? I mean, nothing, of course. You're going to kill me. Oh, that's not foreshadowing. I could hear you guys next door. Is everything alright? Nothing, it's just Percival being scared. Percival being scared? Interesting. Seriously, guys, don't even start. Hey, and again, an actual character moment, and it's a human moment between them, especially given that Celeste and Percival do go way back. And we didn't get to that part in the story either. Sorry. Anyways, did you find anything, Genist? I did. And it isn't pretty. I've successfully used up all my power. Now take care of Methkazub. That transfer was like happening for a number of episodes, I think, actually. She's given me all the power. I have the power! Rest now, headmistress. Now is my time. I am very curious to see, especially given like the level of like the effects in this production, in this whole show, actually, what it's going to be like to see like a doubly powered up headmaster. He's going to style on everyone. This might be the first time I've been intrigued to see like how a gacha video. Well, it's not. That's not the first time actually, but it's been the first time in a while I've been intrigued to see how a gacha bot is going to like pull off, you know, a visual like increment like that, especially in an action series. Or a series with action involved, I suppose. Would this be called an action series? I think it would be, actually. Yeah. The force field is coming back up? Actually, that makes sense to do first, in all fairness. But the cryptic souls are still reacting. I mean, do they know? Do they have enough cognition to remember how force fields work? Aside from walking into them, or are they like zombies? It's kind of hard to tell a little bit. You're right. They can't see us if we're inside. There's still people outside the force field! Oh, that's what they're reacting to. Got it. Okay, I see. We can't get in! Oh, that was the thing before, you know, when Celeste, like, you know, entered and she was trapped inside compared to now now people are trapped outside. Again, interesting difference between how they decide to, you know, to work on this. I guess now if the cryptic souls are like pushing them back to some degree, then they would want to take refuge inside compared to before. It would give them more of an advantage. That being said, it does seem like, at least we're seeing like the witches like actually firing attacks and everything, but we haven't seen many cryptic souls in this episode. In fact, we haven't seen any since part 2 started. And I'm wondering why that is, because Oreo did show them in previous episodes. It's not like that they're beyond the possibility of like of animating, or, you know, at least like, you know, editing in. But yeah, so I'm wondering why that they are exclusively off screen now. Even going back to Aurora having taken one out, and, you know, it being talked about rather than being seen. It goes against show don't tell to some degree. It goes against show to tell half and half, actually, because they are showing the attack. They're not showing where they're landing. Again, that to me is still a little bit weird in this context, in the way that they're going about this. The headmaster completed taking all the headmistress's power. The headmaster's the one who's controlling the force field. You know, it's a minimum amount of energy to keep it up. Great. You guys who are still out there, keep fighting the cryptic souls until all is cleared. Oh wait, this is the same guard from the bunker, isn't he? Just with the beard now. I almost didn't notice that. Yes, sir. It does seem a bit heartless, but obviously that's all they can do in this situation. Well, now Aurora went outside to collect some herbs for potions. Last time I left to go outside alone was terrible for us, but we're going to do it now anyway. I guess they do need to talk about her to some degree. And we have established her connection to herbs and potions a lot more, so I guess now we have that. So at least like the flashback did serve some purpose. Why are you going to make potions? I'm guessing it's for when the mortals arrive. Trust me, she knows what we'll be needing. Anyways, about the situation. As we know it. That's very close. That's so close. I think it's trying to say, like the way that we interpret the situation right now, like as that, like all the stuff that we've collected together, not like oh wait, never mind. All of us here knows that Agatha's okay. All right, never mind. It isn't as you know. Never mind. Okay, all right. Hey, you know what? 13 minutes of solid writing is not bad for Oreo, to be honest. That's almost a quarter of this video. The collective one, obviously. Anyways, all of us here knows that Aurora is Agatha's relative. And she can be our only hope to peace. Think about it. Well, I mean, does Celeste know about did you read that part out when Celeste was in the room? I thought that was just to Percival. But think about the consequences. Yeah, and the ways that it can go wrong. The mortals don't know about the whole, like, vessel thing. It's pretty established that mortals, part of the reason they fear witches not just because of Agatha is because of they don't understand, the whole people fear what they don't understand situation. They're not going to know the ins and outs of what magic can do necessarily. And the idea of someone becoming a vessel for somebody else, they would not automatically default to it. You would have to make some sort of way where Agatha would display a public spectacle of some kind. Or Aurora would, like, establish that. And we have established, of course, that, that Agatha herself was not that bad, or supposedly, and then, there's that whole moral implication as well on top of that. I guess you could say that if Aurora does find out about this and makes the sacrifice anyway, that she's actually doing it for the sake of what people believe rather than, the truth in that instance. But yeah, I don't know. As you know. Yeah. All right. If people don't get that, check out one of our previous streams. As you know, it will never be a good line, not even once. Remember when it said that their body will be possessed by Agatha's soul? I guess you did read it then, fine. Who knows what can happen? What if history starts over again? Are you guys saying that we should have Aurora sacrifice herself? Yeah, I'm with Percival there. That's a terrible idea. Of course not. She's our friend. I like that hesitation there, which is like, of course I wouldn't say that, but she secretly is thinking it. That's difficult to do when you're not doing a voice acted production, and even then, a lot of voice actors will not clock onto it unless you tell them to. I have no plans with that happening, or of that happening. She's innocent, and I can't just imagine how that would feel. Like drowning, I assume. Here, let me read the book some more and see if there's anything that we should know. Is he going to wreck his own handwriting now? That is a good question. I guess, like, his handwriting would have changed from when he was a child, so maybe not. But one of the things the grandmother didn't say, forget your handwriting, so yeah. I'll go outside with Aurora and see if she's doing okay. Hope she hasn't been kidnapped in the time that we've been, has been away. Percival! Make sure to take some notes so you can share your findings. Oh, okay. I'm really wondering where they're going with the whole handwriting thing. If I want to see when most of the Percival's characters is going to sacrifice himself. You know, maybe not that time. I'm thinking more of like, I guess Harry's sacrifice, much later on rather than Ron's sacrifice. But yes, for the sake of comedy, that example is far more relevant. Yeah. I'm thinking more of the case, when Harry finds out that he's a Horcrux and then decides, he has to die, and that's like the whole thing. But yeah. I'll be sharpening my weapons. Got it. Okay, one thing that I'll say to Gacha tubers as well, if you want to, instead of like, this is like a relic a little bit of people like having the scene directions on the top of people's heads, where it's like, yes, picks herbs or something like that, and that's why they're static. One thing that is a good thing to move away from, if you can, is the static pose where someone is just like frozen doing a task. Without the scene directions, it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look good with scene directions anyway, because I've commented on how those are bad anyway, but we've evolved since then on purpose. So that's, yeah. So make sure, like, I would have done like possibly like an idle animation, maybe, like, pick back and forth or something between two different poses. Even that simple like alternation, potentially with like a basket of some kind, if she's collecting something, then that would have been far more effective than just the frozen part. We know what she's doing because they've talked about it in a previous scene, but still, just for the sake of the audience, it's a little bit better to see it that way. So anyone who is making because they're making Gacha videos, consider alternating poses rather than static poses for actions. Anyways, oh, hello, Celeste. I was just checking if you were doing all right. I appreciate that. One thing I also appreciate, the fact that Celeste is actually so much shorter than Aurora, despite the fact that Aurora is like the newbie. Like, normally you have like the newbie person be the short one. Again, I did that in Average Academy. Erica is canonically a short queen, but but yeah, like, it's nice to see the difference sometimes. It depends if you're going for like a whole if you're going for a David and Goliath situation. Although then again, I guess in this situation, Celeste is the David for a lot of people. So, you found all the herbs you need so far? Yes, well, I need just one more thing. I mean, I guess it's a coincidence to find all the herbs you need inside of a force field. Unless, I guess this is a witch town. Maybe they just grow these plants as for the sake of the herbalists in their area. That actually makes sense now I think about it. Never mind. Like what? Fresh lake's water. And the only lake here is Novaturian Lake. Oh, I can get that for you. I think you've done a lot of work on here so far. So I'll collect some water from the lake for you. That's really kind of you. Imagine if now it turns out that Celeste is also an Agatha relative, and she drowns in, there's no mortals to see it. That would be a terrible twist for the characters. But I guess like they are building up the idea that Aurora is the only Agatha relative that they have. And we did just divulge a bunch of backstory, meaning there's not much mystery left. So hey, maybe it would be a good twist after all. I've talked myself into it. But we'll see what they do. Then I'll go start brewing the other potions while you get the water. I guess they don't. I thought that's gonna be like the base for all of them, I guess. Like, they have to be prepared inside of the Novaturian Lake water. Anyways, just be careful. The water's boiling hot for some reason. Yeah, I will. For some reason. Yeah. It's been a while since I brewed anything like this. It's been a while since you brewed anything at all, to my knowledge. I mean, I think you only had spell books when you were with your adoptive mother, I think. Strength, healing, unconsciousness, weakness, blindness. Most of these are for the mortals to weaken them. Even the strength ones and resistance. Anyway, find someone who's good at archery and fragile bottles. Who's good at fragile bottles? You mean aiming with them? Genius! You startled me. I guess now you know how it feels. Everyone seems to appear behind everyone today. What goes around comes around, Aurora, I suppose. Anyways, I apologize. I was just here to grab my arrows to sharpen. You know, for my archery. Yeah. You know archery. I've done archery since I was 5. So yes, why do you ask? Fun fact: in the UK, there's actually a law that's never enforced anymore. That apparently you're supposed apparently like every male aged 40 and up is supposed to go into the woods once a week and practice archery. They just never abolished that one, but they don't ever do anything with it anymore. Can you do me a favor? Of course. Would that mean multiple favors? You know, I guess like ultimately, I wonder because this is obviously a Minecraft thing they introduced later, but the idea of like like tipped arrows, the idea of course is that you combine a potion with an arrow and you're able to aim, and the arrow will give the effect of that potion in the game. In real life, that's meant to parody the idea of poisoned arrows. Just applying that to extra effects. So I would have to guess that if you dipped an arrow in a potion, you could logically use the tip of that arrow to apply that effect. Although maybe I guess it wouldn't be as potent because you would only like you wouldn't be able to like use the whole bottle. I'm guessing that potions operate on a dosage basis. That's what I would think basically. That's actually a D&D question you get sometimes. Like, if I take a sip of my healing potion, can I heal all the way? It's like, no. Unless it's like a homebrew rule, in which case, yeah. But anyway. It's hard, huh? It's not. Okay, so not the twist I was thinking of, but alright, fair enough. She's still the only one, for now. Because apparently nowhere to be found. Like, here's the thing. They say, like, a relative of Agatha's. Obviously, they don't mean descendant necessarily because, she's Aurora's Agatha's niece and not, directly descended from her. So I would have to guess that if Agatha had, like, other, cousins or something, then they would also count. And if you go back far enough in someone's, like, family lineage, you would find, at least, like, one or two, distant cousins a couple times removed, at the very least. Even Kesru played around with this idea where they were like, oh, hey, I'm a distant cousin or something. Depending on whether or not that's actually true is obviously part of what, Daisuke is trying to figure out in that show, but that's what they're going with right now, and it does make sense logically for it to be the case. I never thought I would compare this show to Kesru, but there you go. Okay, so this explains the handwriting thing. Because, yeah, if he's taking notes in this way, unless he has to will the quill, that rhymes, to write every single way, he could just essentially, to not use another Harry Potter reference, Rita Skeeter. It could be like a quick quotes quill that works, in the writes for itself and is somewhat independent, but is tied to the person's thoughts at the same time. Depending on how this is going to go, because one of them would give you someone's handwriting, the other one would just give you the quill's handwriting. But you have to wonder, in the world of Harry Potter, do you think that quick quotes quills have different handwriting to themselves because they would be all manufactured somewhat differently? Now, there's a question I bet that J.K. Rowling's never got before. I'm sure we'll get a Twitter post about that if someone ever did ask. And we'll all go, that's canon now. But there you go. Anyway, just got into it trying to use an arrow like a makeshift needle. They did the arrow to tip as a healing potion. They used the arrow on a wound. I mean, if the person's right in front of them, I probably would not use the arrow because I just pierce them. I would mostly reserve, tipped arrows for combat purposes. But now you say that, I do think that you have tipped arrows in Minecraft that are basically like all potions, so like even healing ones, which is also very interesting now that I think about it. Oh well. Hold on. I usually don't pay attention to details, but don't you? The author also had the same handwriting as me. Ah, there we go. See, I was onto something with this. Hee. Although, again, I guess that does mean that in this world you have to will the quill to move, even if you're not touching it. Now it's flying. Oh, and now it's flying it closer to like take an actual closer look. I see. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Again, it does come into question when because obviously someone's handwriting changed a lot from when they're a child to when they're in their teens. Particularly if they've been instructed to write a certain way or to reduce the size of their handwriting. People's handwriting tends to get much smaller as they as they get older. So, I mean, I guess that might be the difference he's talking about. Why it's almost the same. The cut isn't as deep, but the potion went through. Good. Now let's see if this witch obeys me. Stand. Perfect. Now the king isn't the only mortal who can control a witch. Oh, different mortal factions now? I guess they would. They have the numbers to support different factions. That's one thing we haven't explored in this. Now answer my question. Is there another academy other than yours? Okay, wait, no, they're all still on the same side. Yeah, now I think about it, actually, having different mortal factions would have been like another expansion of the world. But we do have, mortals, witches, and cryptic souls. That is a lot to handle at this point anyway, so I guess it makes sense they would all be on the same side. Because again, you ally yourself against a common goal, so I guess there's that. Also, Bon, I've been here for an hour. Yes. Where? The Eastern Mountains. Is it hidden? Yes. Okay, now I'm thinking of another Harry Potter reference, Is there other academies in the mountains? Yes. Is it hidden? Obviously. If I get this witch, take whatever is hiding that... to take whatever's hiding that academy, the king will praise me. Tell me, what is the academy's name? Mogarip. Lead me there. It's never a good sign when an army is, taking initiative for themselves. That's why they're always trained to follow orders, so yeah, this might not go so well. That was a very slow fade, so you can tell it's definitely, yeah. Take me to your leader. Sort of. Oh, we get nice moments of everyone actually doing their thing. Of course, now he's getting a bit tired because, again, he hasn't slept. I've only known her for a small amount of time, and I already consider her as my closest friend. Wow! Shots fired to Percival! Jeez! What happened there? My goodness! That can't be them. What's going on? The mortals are coming this way. I just saw them from the distance. Alright, everybody! Start writing your things! The mortals are coming! The mortals are coming! First of all, if I become overwhelming. Let's mute again. That would be interesting. Yeah, this is what I was saying before in terms of Percival's inclination to preserve someone's innocence rather than remind them of things that they've forgotten if it will bring back trauma. could be due to the fact that like he made that decision for himself already as a child, or it could be because the earrings themselves are making him constantly make that decision out of self-preservation for what they were designed to do. And either way, it still tracks for his character. That's what I was saying earlier. Now let me go with a twist. It's a boy. I think someone did like threaten to, like, well, not threaten, but did like joke around about making the mutant boy at some point, or about me doing so as a spin-off, and I was like, nah. I'm going to need all your arrows to have these potions covered in them. Okay, so we are doing the tipped arrow thing. Because beforehand, you said you had an expert in archery and fragile bottles, implies you're going to tie the bottles to them or something. But no, again, the tipped arrow does make more sense. Yeah, I misspoke, not threaten. Again, I am surprised, well, I'm surprised and not surprised to some degree that no one has like made another show called The Mutant Girl in like the 6 years that's been around. On one hand, I'm surprised because it was made in the time that everyone was being the copycats of each other to some degree. But also, I'm also not surprised because it didn't gain the traction that a lot of those episodes that got copied did, as well as being copied so much. So on one hand, I can see it, but I also can't. I would have thought it would have happened by now, just out of sheer coincidence. Like somebody, in the Gacha community would have had to have thought of the idea of calling a series The Mutant Girl aside from me. That's what I'm guessing. And not everyone would think to look up if their episode title has already been used necessarily. Yeah. Would I want it to be a thing of given opportunity, The Mutant Boy? I wouldn't say that I would or that I wouldn't. It's just the things like, oh, okay, this exists now. Interesting, Like I personally wouldn't make it, but if someone else did, I'd be like, oh yeah, that tracks. I would be neutral to it existing. There you go. There's a boy, not the mutant, but well, okay, yeah. I guess it might have been you who mentioned that before in that case. But anyway. They saw the mortals coming! Come on, let's get started! Let's get it started in here! Anyway. It means they probably saw them. Which is good. So, did you find anything that can help from that book? Not as much, but there's so much information about Aurora and her family. It's disturbing. Gosh, this author is a stalker. That's what biographies are like. You're supposed to know the information about the person. And whether or not that involves stalking is, sometimes debatable. A lot of the time, biographers will talk to the person in question, but they will also talk to people who, knew the person anyway. Like, that's just standard practice at that point for biographies. Better or worse. If they're alive right now, I'll make sure they never write or see again. Wow, you're getting really, uptight about someone writing details about a living figure that's useful to you. Why do you care so much about this person rather than, anyone else any other historical figure that someone's documented? Why? Should we hide the book then? Aurora might read it. There's the whole preserving memories thing again. We should. Even though it's the one thing that she's that she wanted to search for to find the truth herself, but there you go. Mortals are already here? Great, I've better got any sleep. Well, get ready yourselves. This is serious, and there's a chance of you perishing. Now go and wake the others up. So, there's always been a witch village at this place. How astonishing. I like how the force field being up is the giveaway now. Your Majesty, do you wish for us to split as you said? Most assuredly. The others and the others. That's exactly what I said earlier. Oh wow, yeah, getting a good angle of the floor there with that with that spyglass. That's quite the angle you've got going on. They're splitting up. What are they splitting up for? Keep the barrier strong. But Mars spy. Okay, you know what? Fair, but Mars spyglass. Just it's undone. But yeah, A for effort. You're right. You're right. We'll say that. We'll say that. All right. I want to ship us because they're kind of cute. They kind of give me sibling vibes. I'm gonna say they'd be cute adopted siblings. Yeah, I think Oreo has made a statement about this. Again, Oreo's like the statement was about like how there's not a romance arc in this series, but you know, people by default would want to ship Aurora and Percival because you know, one is a boy and one is a girl. Could I make it any more obvious? You know, that kind of thing. Like so. I mean, yeah, the siblings thing also makes sense. Especially because they are roommates. All the siblings are, so yeah, I guess that tracks. Anyway. God and goddess, spirits and guides. Shower your luck and strength for thou? Okay, a little bit of like old English there. I would have, you know, like it would be the at the end of a sentence rather than thou. Oh god, this is a terrible god. You're like a brother to me. Yeah, you're the sister I never had. Oh my goodness. And yeah, they were roommates. Good lord. Anyway. Our fortitude we feel weeps tonight. What does that mean? You feel fortitude, but your fortitude weeps. Huh? What? Anyway. May you possess the faith of ours, so mote it be. You tried. You tried. Oh, okay. And the episode, special thanks. Oh, are these, oh, okay. I guess it makes sense if given how long the episode is to have inserts of other characters. All right, then. Hey, look, at least we get like a little bit of an end credits as well. Because normally it's just a to be continued, which is not bad because the to be continued like cliffhangers worked for their intended purposes, but this is good too. And so many as well. It's a good way of doing end credits as well. We have this as well. Oh, I'm blocking the screen again. What's that other person's name? Pt3M. Okay, PYT3M. And again, some fantastic music as well. I mean, again, when did the series get good? So normally, I'll say final thoughts while this is going on, I guess. Like, I've said before that there are part 1s and part 2s of videos, especially when they get to a certain point, where the halfway mark is where things fall apart. Largely for this episode, it was the direct opposite. The first part was atrocious, like the rest of the series, you know, to varying degrees. But yet this one, like, it had a couple of moments where it was playing off things that already existed in the Witch Academy series. Oh yeah, I guess they've got to establish Squad 2 now, with all things considered. Halfway through the show, again, outside of the Academy, but whatever. I also thought the same thing, but I didn't say anything out loud. And hey, another again, not just the black screen to be continued. Another bingo, of course. Well, given what happened today, yeah, of course, that makes sense to be on people's minds. And a subtle visual at the end. Ah, yes. So again, yeah, like the second half of this really picked up not just from this episode, but from the show. It's almost like, okay, now I've got the backstory stuff out of the way. Maybe that's what Oreo kind of needed to some degree, like, you know, like to really establish like what made everyone the way they were and the world itself, and actually like properly explore that in writing. Personally, what I would have done in this situation is, again, I said before, it would be nice to have revealed that stuff that we saw in part one as the series progressed, like towards the end, with that, you know, episodes 9 and 10, so it's not all happening at the same time. However, it's like, it's, if Oreo had this plan at this stage, it's nice to know that and to use that information to propel you forward, essentially. Because you don't have to, you know, reveal all your cards as you, the author, determine them. Not that I think that Oreo did this, because again, unlike a lot of gacha tubers, it seems like that like the meta behind this is that Oreo chose gacha as a medium after coming up with the story and not before. And it just so happened to work out in terms of the audience, not in terms of the story itself. But that's why you don't see as many like, you know, gacha tropes in this one. You see general bad storytelling tropes in at large. But now I've got to a point where the focus kind of shifted to, like, you know, people's characters' reactions to what they know, the dramatic irony of trying of you know, the concerns for your friends, and some just general like relatable moments, actually, like, you know, the moments between the mother and Aurora, in terms of like trying to get a child to understand your point of view and you understand theirs. Like, that's a very nuanced moment that you don't see a lot of the time. Like, part of it does come down to, I don't like to use this argument, but part of it does come down to the age of a lot of gacha tubers, because people tend to start writing gacha series like so young that they haven't lived through these different stages of life, or they haven't observed them to the same degree in media or like outside, so they don't think about those angles from other perspectives aside from their own. But yeah, clearly here, this is a case of, you know, because like a lot of writers, you know, especially like, you know, big established ones will say, oh, well, you know, like, you know, if you want to write better, you know, just get older, and then, you know, you'll have lived through different experiences. And there is some truth to that, as much as I don't like to make an argument about like ages of people when they're writing stuff. But here, it does seem to imply that at least, if not, you know, a greater age than the average for gacha, but at least a greater experience of the world, or, you know, better observation. And that's what I was really hoping for when I looked into the series. I think I watched the Q&A for the series before I started watching the actual show. And that was partly because I wanted to like figure out like the information behind it, when I was going to come back, and the whole, you know, longest running thing. But Oreo spoke as a very competent person who is passionate about this particular story and the craft of writing itself. And to be honest, I haven't really seen that to the same degree as like for like the effects and editing until this part of this episode. It took a while, but we got there. And I think I said this before, but I think most of the issues that I have with this episode come from trying to from like having to pick up from the existing plot points, similarly to how Bunny Wunny Tales had to pick up from the first 2 minutes of its creation. And that's what kind of dictated a lot of like not only the direction of the whole series, I think it was the first 2 minutes, but the legitimate consequences. That show didn't shy away from what happened and actively tied it into a flashback. And this show doesn't shy away from, okay, we've done this, we can't correct it, we're not going to ignore things that are going on. You and our killer, yes, exactly that. I'm trying to not say it, not trigger your stims, but yes, you and our killer. But yeah, like this show does not shy away from, okay, we've done this, and I mean, or at least, yeah, okay, it does shy away from some degree, because again, it seems to go back on ideas. I think I said before that Aurora's backstory was just a case of, okay, it was like we were led to believe a certain thing, and it wasn't. And I'm a fan of subverting expectations. However, the expectation was that it was going to be a little bit different to what we expected. We saw in other media, and then the subversion was the same as other chosen stories to some degree. That's why it doesn't work for me as well personally. But yeah, I guess if I were to go back and watch the series over again, I don't think I would find as many contradictions as I'm expecting to. Because, like, again, this is like almost like a filling in of the blanks, but the blanks were not how they were presented before. But that could have been just a case of like audience interpretation. So yeah, I mean, for once, I recommend actually going and checking out the series again if someone is inclined to do so in order to see, does this stuff actually align or does it not? Again, this is an internet show, so it tended to some degree to be binge watched. So watching this months apart is not the most helpful of scenarios, and I'm aware of that. But, for all of Gacha review. So yeah, maybe that's something that I actually misjudged it on to some degree, and it's only now we've actually seen, I guess, the aftermath of that. The true potential of the show does kind of come back. And yeah, like the formation of the squad as well. We have a team that seem to be that seem to at least they think they have the only solution that is possible. Again, it's still a terrible plan. That's the one part of this episode that is a terrible plan that was in this episode and this alone. But they think they have a solution to what's going on. They think they're the ones that can actually provide like anything. They have the book. They have the Agatha relative. So on some level, yeah, they're the only ones that can that have like all the pieces for how to solve this. And like that makes sense in terms of like, yeah, it's a story trope, but it's a good story trope rather than a bad one, because you want your characters to feel like, based on who they are and what they and what resources they have, that they're the ones that can do the job. Much like the mortals themselves have the resources and necessary numbers to overpower people who can literally do magic. I miss so much. I have no horse in this race. Well, yeah, I'm gonna wrap up now. I'm not gonna ramble too much. But yeah, I mean, I might even like retitle this episode. This episode's like, oh well, which academy gets good or something like that, like as a title. Basically, because I started late, make sure people know this exists. This is out there. Because yeah, I mean, this has like picked up my entire view of the series, at least somewhat, not entirely. Obviously to some degree you can't polish a turd, but there's a little bit of polish there. You can appreciate the shine and sparkle a little bit. Yeah. There's no love in the future. See you later, Missions of Occulta. Nah. What that one? Yeah, but. That one first, I think. You'll enjoy that one more than this, I think. Because, one of them is still not Witch Academy. Put it that way. And one of them does, in fact, use character backstory to some degree in order to actually, deepen things. More so towards the end, but yeah. There you go. Guess Walking West is going to be about. Quite possibly. Unless other major stuff happens this week, Ghost Kitty did remind me again to check my DMs. So other stuff might be taking precedent this week, but we'll see. I've hyped up Mystery of Occulta more than I have this episode, but yeah, maybe not. Fair enough. Yeah. do as you will, I suppose. I'd say either way, I benefit from it, so why not? They might be happening. Yeah, I thought so. So I'm going to deal with that now while I make some dinner. And we'll see what goes on after that. So yeah, so please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And subscribe to us already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.